parlato della prima fila, quindi l'Eseo Donno, Fleming e piloti giovanissimi, l'Eseo Donno pilota italiano, canadese, autore della pole position, tempo 38.244 la seconda fila è per pilota italiano Marco Sadan, numero 69, BDCB, pilota nel 2020. Percorrere più di un giro di inseguimento, dicevo senza fissa per
Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Estoril circuit here in Portugal. It is the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli that are about to get on their way for their first race of their weekend. As there you can see the assembled grid of some 18 cars, a mix of Pirelli drivers and Pirelli AM drivers. The Pirelli drivers with red strips across the top of the windscreen, the AM drivers with white strips across the top of the windscreen. Welcome to Estoril. And Trofeo Pirelli Race 1. And, well, it's a challenging track, forgive the pun, for our drivers, and this is precisely where we are, just outside Lisbon. What a lovely city. Wow, what a location for a motor racing circuit. Here it is then, and it is maybe 25 kilometers or so from central Lisbon, 4.182 kilometers in length. We'll tell you more about the circuit in due course, but it is the 5th round of Ferrari Challenge for 2023. All that remains after this weekend is Spa-Francorchamps and the Finale Mondiale in Mugello. Please follow us on @Ferrari Races and be part of the family and enjoy everything to do with the Ferrari Challenge. There you can see just one part of the circuit. It's very old school with no acres and acres of tarmac runoff area. There's lots of gravel traps which bite you on the bottom if you get it wrong and you decide to exceed the track limits, which is a mistake here at an old school circuit like Estoril. And we'll take a look at the weather, where the air temperature is just delightful. It's 22 degrees, the track temperature 45. And the wind has picked up a little bit, 18 kilometers per hour. So that's the way it looks from a weather perspective. And down there in the hot seat, as it were, on the warm tarmac is Ludovica. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to everyone and welcome back to the circuit of Estoril in Portugal. This is the first time for Ferrari Challenge here in Portugal, so this is a big event. We are now in the thick of the season. The competition between the drivers is very hard, and for this reason I want to hear some of the voices of the protagonists of this championship. And as you can see, all the cars are settled up on the grid today. From the pole position today start for another time Eliseo Donno. This is an important result for the championship standing, but I want to hear the expectation and the feelings and the emotion about the second driver which start from the second position, Thomas Fleming. Thomas is a young driver which continue the young battle for this championship. Thomas, congratulations for your result for today. You start from the front. Near you there is Eliseo, another competitive driver. And for this reason, I want to ask you, in your opinion, what is the best point of the circuit for overcome your opponents or Eliseo?
Say that again?
In your opinion, what is the best part for overcome and to battle with your opponents?
I think in cars and climates like these, you know, pressure is the main key. Everyone brakes, and you know, yes, we are second place, and it was really close qualifying. It was a thrilling qualifying session for myself and the you know, the guys watching. But we're happy with our P2 start. But yeah, pressure is the main thing, especially around here. Similar to like a go-kart circuit, so it's a little bit hard to overtake in areas. But you know, you've got to be on it and you've got to get it right every single lap. And mistakes are costly around here.
Thank you. Have a good race.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
So basically what Tom is saying there is going to maintain the pressure all the time. And Tom is a young racer, and what we shouldn't forget is that it's his first campaign in terms of series, and he's done really, really well. And has consistently qualified right up there at the sharp end. So well done, Tom Fleming. For HRO and FF Corsa, he goes from P2. Front row occupied by two young superstars, Alessio Donno and Tom Fleming then, whom we just heard from. Then it's Marco Zanazzi as P3 on the grid, but P1 in terms of Trofeo Pirelli AM driver. So very good qualifying from him. And Ludovica has more for us right now.
Yes, because I want to share you that in this race there are so many young drivers. Another young drivers who start from the front of the grid is Simon Ladniak. For him and for all the team is a very important result. More Italian on the grid today, so will be a very competitive and interesting race today.
Yes, great qualifying from Simon Ladniak. He goes from P3 in class. It is a second row start, though, because it's P4 overall, as I mentioned. Marco Zanazzi going from P3, which is P1 within Pirelli AM. Okay, so Estoril circuit, here it is then. 4.182 kilometers, 13 turns, 4 of them left, 9 of them right. There's sector 1. And then you get a real blast of power through the kink, which is turn 5 through, then it's turn 6, 7, and 8. It's quite undulating as well. And then a very technical part through turns 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. The parabolica turn 13 as you're heading towards the start-finish straight. Now, we thought it would be a great idea to take on board a really fast lap, and no better person really to give us a hot lap than the driver of this car, which is car number 3. There it is, and here is Max Mugelli.
Ciao a tutti, sono Max Mugelli, pilota CDP Eureka Competition. Siamo qui sul circuito dell'Estoril e pensate, è la prima volta che il Ferrari Challenge viene qui su questa pista. Andiamo a scoprirla. Siamo nel punto più veloce del tracciato. Qui con le nostre vetture arriviamo sui 270 km/h. I 100 metri è il punto di riferimento più o meno per la staccata, molto impegnativa, dai 270 ai 90 km/h per l'approccio di curva 1. Questione tracklist, salita. Siamo alla 13, l'ultima curva, quella che mette sul traguardo. Curva importantissima perché ovviamente se esci bene da questa curva guadagni tanta velocità sul rettilineo. Curva però molto lunga, è molto facile andare in sottosterzo, perdere la corda e soprattutto in uscita dobbiamo rispettare il track limit, quindi una curva molto tecnica e molto difficile. Abbiamo quindi concluso il giro e se abbiamo fatto tutto bene, appuntamento sul podio.
Thank you very much, Max Mugelli, who actually is actually good at English as well, but doing that lap in Italian with the subtitles for us. Max Mugelli, always one to be reckoned with. He goes from P5 on the grid today. It's P4 within class. I won't mention once again the Pirelli drivers and the Pirelli AM drivers. So the cars are lined up on the grid then, the mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers, and we are just 30 seconds away from the race start, and that will mean the Richard Mille safety car leading the cars away on their formation lap as Alessio Donno goes from pole position for Pirelli. For Pirelli AM it is Marco Zanazzi. And there, right on cue, the Richard Mille safety car does lead the cars away. Let's bring you the grid in full. Alessio Donno and Thomas Fleming are on the front row. They go from P1 and P2. To the third row of the grid, it's Marco Zanazzi, great qualifying in Trofeo Pirelli AM. Alongside him is Simon Ladniak, good quality from Simon as well. Max Mugelli and Franz Engstler, they sharing the third row of the grid. It's P5 and P6. And then to the fourth row of the grid where we find Hanno Laskowski and a very good qualifying from Hendrik Viol as well. He goes from P8. He races for Scuderia Prague. James Owen, good quality too. Well done, James. P9. Nicola Rosi alongside going from P10. Then we find Mohammed Hamdi and Lucky Kira, 11 and 12. They complete the sixth row of our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli grid, which finds Kim Eriksson, P13, and Otto Blank, P14. To the 8th row, it's Nick Haller and Ruslan Sadriv making his debut in the Ferrari Challenge. He goes from P16 to the 9th row of the grid, Armin Arifport. And Danilo Del Favero starting from P18 on the grid, completing our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli grid for their first race of the weekend here in Estoril. It's just ahead of 5:30 local time. Alongside me is my German colleague, but speaks better English than I do, Nico Spalek. Good afternoon. Expecting a good race from the Trofeo Pirelli drivers.
Yeah, definitely. It is the first time that the Trofeo Pirelli will contest a race here at Estoril. So this is the chance to get your name into the record books, and Eliseo Donno on pole position, Tom Fleming. This will certainly a battle into turn 1, but watch out for those behind them, and especially those who may feel they're a little bit out of position. They will try to move up the order very quickly.
I was really impressed with Simon Ladniak, who did a very good qualifying, and he could be a danger man going from P3 in Trofeo Pirelli, albeit a second row start, because he's actually P4 by dint of a Trofeo Pirelli AM driver being ahead of him. So we will see. Now, what will happen is the cars will line up side by side in grid formation. The Richard Mills safety car will peel off into the pit lane. It will then be the responsibility of Eliseo Donno and Thomas Fleming to control the pace of the rolling start. It's always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. And the cars going side by side as we speak to make their way into that grid formation then. And the Richard Mills safety car then, as I say, will indicate right and head off into the pit lane. We ride on board with it now. There's Tom Fleming and Eliseo Donno. Both of them, if I may be so bold, are champing at the bit to get going into that very first turn, which is a deep right-hander. So, all eyes on the lighting gantry. We throw it to the left-hand side of the screen. Hold on to everything. We're about to go racing. And the lights go out, and I'll tell you what, the front row seemed to be caught out a little bit as Simon Ladniak with an absolutely blistering start. Look, he's put himself right alongside Tom Fleming and Simon Ladniak. Simon right alongside Eliseo Donno. Simon Ladniak in the all-yellow car, and Franz Engsler with a good start as well. As, fingers crossed, we all get through, or all cars get through turn number 1. And Franz Engsler taking just a bit of a panel rub there. You could see him being nerfed, and Tom Fleming under a bit of pressure right now from Simon Ladniak then, and Eliseo Donno running a bit wide. The early stages of this, Simon Ladniak made good progress against Marco Zanazzi, who's gone backwards, to be honest. Hanno Laskovsky and Mohamed Hamdi also getting past. So we ride on board with Tom Fleming now. What he needs to try and do, Nico, is to stay with Eliseo Donno, because once Eliseo's got his nose in front, he tends to put in a series of fairly early on quali laps in terms of pace and just disappear up the road.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen that before, but he has to also have an eye in the rear-view mirror, because there is Simon Ladniak, and he re-center shot because he had a really good start. He seems to have a very good pace in the very early stages of this race.
Simon Ladniak in qualifying, he adopted a strategy of going out very early on in the qualifying session, banking a very, very good lap and then parking the car, which will give him, presumably, tyre longevity for later in the race as well, but he needs to stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely, and Eliseo Donno did something similar, didn't overstress the tyres, and got pole position by just a few 100ths of a second over Tom Fleming, who seems to struggle with getting on terms with Eliseo through this first part of the first lap. Marcus Zanazzi, as you said, he has gone backwards, so he has lost a little bit, and Franz Engsler.
Both of them are breaking away just a little bit now from Simon Ladniak, who had a really good start. So there's Tom Fleming running P2, trying to keep Eliseo Donno well within his sights here. And of course, we will keep an eye on the times. And for my money, I think Tom Fleming is looking a little bit quicker now. So he does need to stay within sights of Eliseo Donno and not let him escape too much up the road. But I think the top two are breaking away from Simon Ladniak a little bit, Nick.
Yeah, just a little bit. But we see some purple sectors from Simon Ladniak and Tom Fleming, actually equal terms through sector 2. And there is a replay of the start.
And Laskovsky on the inside was also very lively, almost as lively as Simon Ladniak. Just keep an eye on the left-hand side of the screen, because there seems hardly room for Simon to put it around the outside, but he did, and he tried, and in fairness, racing room was left for him. Rather more racing room than was left potentially for Franz Engstler, who got a bit of a nerve, to be honest. And that's how Marco Zanazzi went backwards, to be honest, right at the start of the race. And here's Hanno Laskowski, and that, well, to be fair to Nicola Rossi, I think he was pushed into Franz Engstler. I don't know who it was that was doing the pushing, Nico.
I think it may have been Mohamed Hamdi, but in any event, you are absolutely identified that correctly. Nicola Rossi got a little bit of a shove, and Franz Engstler was the one who stopped Nicola Rossi's sideward momentum. Unfortunately for him, that meant he had to take evasive action and control the car, and by the time he recovered, 2 or 3 other cars had gone by, so he has to regroup and start going forward again.
Well, Tom Fleming's just set the fastest lap, incidentally, and Nicola Rossi setting the fastest lap in Pirelli Am. Is Hanno Laskowski that we're watching right now, who's leading this Trofeo Pirelli Am race from Mohamed Hamdi, who's showing really, really good here, running P2, and Hanno Laskowski leading from Mohamed Hamdi. Then it is Nicola Rossi and Marco Zanazzi. Here comes Marco Zanazzi diving to the inside here. He just took a look at the inside, but when you climb uphill, you lose the momentum. And for the moment, Nicola Rossi is able to metaphorically stick his elbow. Ski Hamdi and Roderick Viol. I might be wrong, but we will see who drops down the Ski Hamdi and Roderick Viol. I might be wrong, but we will see who drops down the order. So Marco Zanazzi does get through on Nicola Rossi, and now Nicola Rossi's got Franz Engstler for company. That's going to be a tall order, isn't it? Franz Engstler with years and years and years of racing experience. Nicola Rossi is something of a star in terms of his driving in Ferrari Challenge now. Has improved so much over the years, and he's now a front-running contender, no question about it. These two, their gap is 6/10 between them, and it's remained 6/10 for a couple of laps now, Nico. So Alessio Donno is certainly not having it all his own way, and he is being chased by Tom Fleming, the British driver. So it's uphill they go, and to that right-hander where you try and just shortcut it a little bit by taking the curves, but you're running uphill as well. It naturally costs you quite a lot of speed. And they are breaking away from Simon Ladniak, who's not able to keep on pace with them. For the AM drivers, it is Hanno Laskowski ahead of Mohamed Hamdi, and of course now Marco Zanazzi, as he's got by that Nicola Rossi car, and I think it was Hendrik Viol that went around Nico, but I don't think got collected by anybody, so thankfully he's able to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can kind of see the lead gap is seesawing a little bit, and Alessio Donno is always stretching his legs on a long straight, whereas Tom Fleming is able to close in again through the twisty bits of the track, so especially Sector 2 and Sector 3. So maybe that's a little bit to do with the setup, where maybe Alessio Donno and Radici Automobili may have set up the cars just a little bit more for top speed, because as we know, it's always a little bit of a compromise to set up the car for a lap, especially on a traditional circuit like this one.
Old school, very much, as Alessio Donno now sets the fastest lap. So, Nico, you know that absolutely correctly. It's seesawing between the two of them. What we do know is that their collective pace is such that they are, well, you can see, there's the P3, Simon Ladniak going through, there's Max Mugelli. Before we get to Hanno Laskowski, Mohamed Hamdi and Marco Zanazzi, the top 3 in the Trofeo Pirelli AM class. That's the way it looks at the moment. Now, Franz Engstler, I can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen, has got past Nicola Rossi. We've not seen that overtake, but apparently he has got past. And so Franz Engstler is in a position now where he will try and get up the road and try and wrestle away at least that P3 position from Nicola Rossi. So Alessio Donno then onto his second season. As you can see, 9 podiums he's taken in his Ferrari Challenge racing career. So that is Alessio Donno that we're watching right now, and he's increased the margin to, well, last time around it was very nearly 9/10 between P1 and P2. There's Franz Engstler, and now Franz Engstler has got past Nicola Rossi. As I say, this could be the overtake, and to be fair, Nicola Rossi ran wide, and he knew Franz Engstler was there, gave him racing room. Now, the incident involving cars 92 and 24 in turn number 1 is going to be under investigation. And that was Lucky Kera and also Hendrik Viol. So that answers a little bit of the question as to why Hendrik Viol went round, Nico, because perhaps he was given a little assist by Lucky Kera.
Yeah, potentially. Certainly race control thinks that's worth having another look at. Yeah. And they generally don't pick that out of thin air. So we will see, and the Lucky Kera fan club may keep their fingers crossed that nothing will come of that investigation. Eliseo Donno will hope that nothing will come of any attempts from Tom Fleming to catch up with him and get closer. Certainly the last time around through Sector 1, Tom Fleming didn't get closer, but let's see what happens in Sector 2. Generally, that's where Fleming has been a little bit quicker and has been able to reduce the gap, but overall it's now bigger than it was. But once again, Tom Fleming, purple second sector, means he's taken 3/10 out, and we're back to 0.8 seconds. So you can see those two are running very close together, but Tom Fleming has the disadvantage of running in the dirty air behind Eliseo Donno. He can't continue that for the next 20 minutes.
Well, as you can see, it's plenty going on here as Marco Zanazzi, Franz Engster, and also Mohammed Hamdi all getting involved in something of a battle here. Now, Marco Zanazzi has got past Mohammed Hamdi now. There is Mohammed Hamdi in the car number 7, and Marco Zanazzi up the road, and here comes Franz Engster, who wants to buy into that battle as well. The battle that Hanno Laskowski is leading, and he's built himself up a nice margin over the cars that are battling behind him. Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, in fairness, from a racing point of view, Nico, it's wonderful when those moves do come together. As well, now Franz Engster with another one of the moves that comes out of the bold and ambitious category. He gets himself past Mohammed Hamdi. So it's a game on now, because Franz Engster is in a podium place, Nico. He's moved himself up to P3 following the rub of panels right at the start of the race, which cost him several positions. But Franz is a wily old racer that's been around for a long, long time, and he knows that, you know, to claw it back, you've got to make progress, and progress is exactly what he is making. And sometimes you do see when drivers have got the bit between their teeth because they feel that they've been wronged, all of a sudden it gives them a real impetus, and Franz is driving really, really well now, and to put himself into a P3 position. Good job, Franz.
Absolutely, and apparently this Trofeo Pirelli is right off the Dario Caso school of racing and overtaking, and let's see if Tom Fleming can also find a page from that very book. If you've not been with us for as many years, Dario Caso, hugely entertaining character, and he was one who was known and famous for making those kind of moves in spots where overtaking was absolutely impossible.
Yep.
He found a shortcut on a straight.
Yeah, we miss you, Dario, because he didn't speak a word of English, but he always delivered entertainment on track, as these guys are doing right now as well. So Eliseo Donno from Tom Fleming and Simon Ladniak, the 1, 2, 3 in Trofeo Pirelli. Then Pirelli AM is Hanno Laskowski, Marco Zanazzi, and Franz Engster. Given to understand that Ludovica has picked up the driver coach of Mohammed Hamdi, and let's hear what he has got to say.
Yes, guys, I'm here with Francesco. In the box, we see the race of Mohammed. And Francesco, can you tell us more about the race of Hamdi?
Yeah, Hamdi did an amazing start from P7. He went up to P2, and now he was fighting P3, P4. Now let's hope we can keep the 4th position. It will be very good. Best result in the championship, so let's see.
Thank you so much.
Well, he's got a great driver coach behind him, hasn't he? Thanks for taking time to talk to us there. We're right on board with Tom Fleming now, who is staying with Eliseo Donno. As Nico has said, that the gap between the two of them is really maintained at a constant sort of 6, 7 tenths. And whoa, a very wide run there from Eliseo Donno allowed Tom Fleming to get a little bit closer. You can see the evolution over the last 3 laps. And of the 3 laps, there are only 2 where Tom Fleming has not been quicker than Eliseo Donno. So whatever setups that the teams have chosen for the cars, and there is Carlo, who's looking on from Radici Automobili. His driver, of course, is P1. Now you can see Tom Fleming there. He's flashing his lights. He's trying to get Eliseo Donno just to lose concentration. Now Tom Fleming was very honest right at the start of the race, where he said, you know what, it's going to have to be pressure. Pressure is what I'm going to have to use. And he is piling the pressure on now. All of a sudden, Eliseo Donno and Tom Fleming are absolutely side by side. Tom is going around the outside, and he's, it was a long way around the outside. He's got to go through the gravel now. This has cost him valuable time if he can keep his foot in. And we're at half distance in the race in terms of duration. Nico, how did you call that?
Not at all until we see a replay, because that was really, I mean, Tom Fleming tried the outside and initially racing room was left. Then there was a little bit of a touch and then he certainly ran out of room.
Yeah.
And certainly Claudio Garavini and his team in race control will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs of eyes on that scene and another replay. I think initially I will reserve my judgment until we've seen more, but I don't think Eliseo Donno did anything intentional there.
Let's have a look. Here comes the replay of Tom Fleming then. Now, Eliseo. Now, Tom is right alongside. The back end of Eliseo's car is sliding, Nico.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously you're always in peril when you're on the outside, and Eliseo, yeah, did he give him a nudge over the line? Yes, he certainly did. Did he do that intentionally, or was it because he lost a little bit of control through there? Make your own judgment, and then you will hear what race control has to say about it.
If you look at the, we've got double yellows somewhere, and oh, that's Mohammed Hamdi, isn't it, Nico?
Yeah, that is Mohammed Hamdi, and that was coming together, I think, again with Nicola Rossi.
Safety car, safety car.
And we've got a safety car, no wonder there.
Oh, what a shame. It would have been Mohammed's best finish, and he was doing really, really well, wasn't he? Oh, I mean, just going back to that that Tom Fleming situation, he'd done really well. I don't know whether Eliseo seemed to have lost a little bit of pace there, Nico, because that allowed Tom Fleming to be right on him. Mohammed Hamdi then for Al Arab Automotive Company is out of the race, and you can see how disappointed he is. He'd done such a good job. The team are down there to make sure he's okay. Safety car is out. This plays into the hands of Tom Fleming.
Yeah, because he's now right back behind Eliseo Donno, and he's flashing his lights, as you can see. I mean,
I'm not sure necessarily that Tom will have seen it the same way that perhaps we've seen it.
Well, and he doesn't need to, because he was alongside, he got a nudge and was pushed across the line. And we can see now on our timing screen, Dave.
Yes, the incident involving cars number 19 and 73 in turn 11 is under investigation, and that is the situation where we saw Tom Fleming and Eliseo Donno come together around that turn 11. So race control are going to look at that. It is under investigation. It's not under investigation after the race. It's under investigation now. And they have, I mean, we have some wonderful camera angles available to us, Nico. Race control have even more, don't they? And they have access to data as well. So we'll see what race control says and reserve judgment. For the moment, it's Eliseo Donno from Tom Fleming, from Simon Ladniak and Max Mugelli. In the Trofeo Pirelli AM class, it's Hanno Laskowski from Marco Zanazzi and Franz Engstler. This is good news for Franz Engstler in terms of him being right now on the gearbox of Marco Zanazzi.
Yes, absolutely. And with the exception of the Le Mans race, where Franz Engstler was not classified near the front, not at all, unfortunately for him. He has been very consistent in the races thus far. We've tried to be very ambivalent in terms of the incident between Eliseo Donno and Tom Fleming. Let's go into the garages right now of the HRO and FF Corsa team and see what they think of that situation, because Ludovica is there for us.
Yes, I want to discover more about the race of Thomas. She's standing in the second position. She is very fast in this he is very fast in this morning, and he made a good race until now.
Yeah, no, look, Tom's doing an amazing job. He had a fantastic test here. He's really calm. He's totally focused. He's put Donno under massive pressure there. He had a clear run, fully alongside the outside. Looks like Donno's edged him out and pushed him wide. So he'll come back because safety car now. So Tom is back in. I believe he can win this one.
Thank you so much.
Copy, thank you.
Well, you know, they're always going to have a different perspective, and I'm not saying they're wrong either, necessarily. Where Tom really impressed me here, Nico, is his recovery. I mean, it would have been so easy to lose that car through the gravel, but he didn't. He kept calm, cool, collected. And now, with the benefit of the safety car, you know, the gap certainly wouldn't have been reduced the way it's been reduced as a consequence of the safety car, but without that, you know, he was, I think, 4 seconds then down when he did manage to make it back out onto the tarmac. But it's a very wise head on a young pair of shoulders there to be able to take that car through the gravel at quite some speed, Nico, and not lose it or bin it, which, you know, fair play to the boy.
Yeah, absolutely, and all you can do...
And I don't mean the boy, disrespectfully, I really don't.
I don't think anybody took it that way, no. I mean, and it's exactly, you have to live to fight another day in that moment, and, you know, you can't control what the race is going to throw at you at that point, but all you can do is put yourself in the best possible position and not make a bad situation worse. And therefore, and that's another replay of that incident of the moment.
And that's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think that was the car of Nicola Rossi, isn't it, that we're on board with here. And yeah, I'm sure race control will take a look at that. I don't know quite how I would call that, Nico, would you?
I probably would call that a racing incident, because certainly racing...
For that, and I agree with that judgment, but the FF Corsa HRO will have been on the radio to Tom Fleming saying, right now, you can calm down, because Alessio is going to take a drive-through penalty. He's going to have to take a drive-through penalty within 3 laps of it being awarded. There is quite some discussion going on in the Radici Automobili garage, Nico.
Yeah, let's be honest, however a call would have come out of race control, one of the 2 garages would have been unhappy.
Of course.
And we had a conversation with Claudio Garavini, our race director, over dinner exactly about this. You can't be right in everybody's eyes at all times. There will be situations, there will be close calls, and you have to call it somehow. And they have, as you already said, they have data, they have camera perspectives, and therefore they make the best situational call that they can out to, or you're allowed to have 3 laps until you have to take the drive-through penalty.
Here is the incident again, just while you're collecting your wise thoughts with regards to, so I'm glad you could answer that, because now this is, and it's that moment there where I see Alessio, I think, now I don't think he was turning into Tom, I think what he was doing was controlling the car which was sliding. I'm not suggesting for a minute that he turned it, but if you watch, the back end is sliding, and therefore he's having to use the left-hand lock to try and control the slide. It's not because he's trying to run necessarily, Tom, maliciously off the road.
Absolutely.
Necessarily, Tom, maliciously off the road.
Absolutely.
But he's lost control of the car, Nico.
Yeah, and what you can say is he's running wide intentionally, not necessarily wide enough to push Tom Fleming off the road, but he could have taken a narrow line through there. And as I said, I can get behind the decision. I think I wouldn't have been up in arms about a different decision, but there we are, and we've only got 5.5 minutes remaining. So
what happens if Alessio can't take the drive-through penalty? He'll get a time penalty.
It generally is a 25-second time penalty, and obviously behind the safety car, a 25-second time penalty means he's nowhere. In fairness, we've only got 4 Pirelli.
So he's going to be P4, isn't he?
Barring disaster for anybody else, P4 is where he will finish, which will still give him reasonable points.
Yes.
But it will max the points for Tom Fleming.
Team principal of FF Corsa, you can see walking away now. That was Ed Barton-Hilton with the white shirt on, and you can see Carlo there from Radici Automobili, who are the 2 teams. Whilst, of course, we've been discussing all of that, we just want to say, hope everything's okay with Mohammed Hamdi, who ended up in the barriers, which has caused this safety car. We saw him just sitting down, and the safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap. Just, Mohammed, I hope everything's okay, friend. You were doing really, really well, and it was a very unfortunate racing incident. There he is. Thank you to our team in the truck for giving us Mohammed Hamdi, who's perfectly all right, as you can see. So you'll get another chance tomorrow, and your race pace today was really, really impressive. Well done to you, Mohammed. Right, safety car is going to come in at the conclusion of this lap. Alessio Donno could not be closer to the safety car if he tried, to be honest with you, because, of course, he wants to get up the road, because he's got to, presumably, he's going to have to come in like on this lap, isn't he, Nico?
I don't think that he's forced, because I think the 3-lap count only counts the moment that he's allowed to take
it's kind of academic anyway. He's going to be 4th, isn't he?
Indeed. And I don't think there is anything that he can do to manipulate that. There is some overtake
here, and Simon Ladniak, of course, Now he feels that he's got perhaps an opportunity. I wonder if there's been contact between the two of them. It looked like there was a bit of smoke coming off the Tom Fleming car. So Simon Ladniak, who is running P3 on the road, but it is P2 in reality, because Alessio Donno's going to get a, if he doesn't drive through penalty, he's going to get a time penalty. And Simon Ladniak is seeing an opportunity here for him to take his first win in the Ferrari Challenge. Dives to the inside now. So Tom Fleming is really having to defend here. Simon Ladniak's got the inside line. They go side by side now. Tom Fleming should be able to carry more speed. He's got more momentum, but Simon Ladniak has really come back into this battle, Nico, by virtue of the safety car. Now, Alessio Donno actually is, dare I say that he's got no necessity to be fast up the road, has he? And they're stacking up behind him, and you can see there a little bit of smoke rubbing on the Tom Fleming car. He's got a bit of panel work, I think, rubbing against the tyre, probably. Here is Hanno Laskowski, who has lost out to not only Franz Engsler, who's also joining that battle now, and I think that's Zanazzi that's gone off into the gravel, Nico.
Yeah, it looked like it, and now, he is stationary, and I mean, this is going to be the last lap. This is going to be the last lap that we're starting now. And now
Donno has come in.
Yeah, Simon Ladniak, it's against Tom Fleming. I don't think Ladniak has a chance to make it stick here, but it's one more lap, and until they reach the last part of the track, I think race control will allow them to race.
Big beneficiary could be Max Mugelli in all of this, because he's sitting behind. He's going to allow these two to fight. We're on the final lap. As you can see, Alessio Donno then taking his drive-through penalty. And, well, Tom Fleming leading from Simon Ladniak and Max Mugelli. And as I say, Max Mugelli could be the big beneficiary here. Let's see what happens. We've got a yellow flag, which is flying, a double yellow at turn 18. And that, of course, will be for the car of Marco Zanazzi. My goodness me. Talk about dramatic Trofeo Pirelli racing. Tom Fleming now appears to have just been able to break away from Simon Ladniak. I mean, fair play to Simon. He was really pushing, wasn't he? And there is Hanno Laskowski. Now, Franz Engsler, of course, another driver advantaged by that safety car, but he made the move stick when he needed to, didn't he? As soon as we got started racing again, well, like a rat up a drain pipe, he was through on Marco Zanazzi.
Absolutely, and as you said earlier, Franz Engsler, a podium without him, almost unthinkable. Well, and he's made it back into P1, and now I think, now that they're in the area where the yellow flag is, that means it's only full throttle to the finish line, and that means Tom Fleming, barring anything super disastrous, he is taking the checkered flag and the win.
A great result for Simon Ladniak, P2, Max Mugelli, P3. For our Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, it's Franz Engsler, and James Owen takes P2, Nico. Through all of that, we didn't see James Owen getting by Hanno Laskowski. James Owen, what a star you are. He will be thrilled with that.
Absolutely. Great, great performance, great result. And there is Alessio Donno, fastest on the track for most of the race, but...
What a race.
And you know, we'll probably get a winner interview under the podium. An interview with Alessio Donno would be very, very enlightening, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, for the FF Corsa team, of course, taking P1 and P2, respectively, in the classes. Good result for them and all the hard work they do. Well done, Tom Fleming. Kept it cool when he needed to. And he is race winner for HRO in FF Corsa in the number 73 car. Now, of course, it's not by any means Tom's first win. It is his second. He took a win earlier on in the year at Misano, I believe, in race 1 in Misano. But fair play, and I'm really quite cross that we didn't see that. James Owen obviously getting by Hanno Laskowski to pick up P2. In Trofeo Pirelli AM, so very well done to James Owen. Well done to Franz Engsler as well for Charles Pozzi GT Racing. And there you can see the James Owen car parked up, not parked up because it's still going around the track, but right behind Franz Engsler. So obviously James spotted some opportunities and he jolly well went for them. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So, well, I'll tell you what, earlier on today we had an exciting and dramatic Cobra Shell race. I was not absolutely sure that that would be able to be topped, but I think it has in terms of drama. And Tom Fleming is victorious for Trofeo Pirelli. For Pirelli Am, it is Franz Engstler. Past the strepsils. Other throat lozenges, of course, are available, but I need a packet of them after that race, Nico.
Well, it was certainly entertaining. It was certainly dramatic. You might even find parallels to a certain Formula One final decider in Abu Dhabi. I'm in the lead and I'm quite comfortable. Thank you.
Thomas Fleming, Simon Ladniak, Max Mugelli, the 1, 2, 3 for Trofeo Pirelli, confirmed on screen. And for Pirelli Am, it is Franz Engstler and James Owen ahead of Hanno Laskowski. Big shout out to Hendrik Weil as well, who finished P6 in class in his debut in the Ferrari Challenge, which is well worth celebrating. Well done. And well done to the Scuderia Prague team. Here is Tom Fleming. He's saying, come and take a look at this. Come and take a look at this. Well done, Tom. He'll be pretty happy with that. And he's going to vault to the top of the car. Steady on, friend. Oh! Nico or I did that, there'd be a huge dent in the roof of that. All right, if I did that, there'd be a huge dent. Apologies for any colourful language you may have heard from Tom Fleming. The emotion of the moment, of course. And Max Mugelli then, with his wife and daughter, then celebrating that P3. Well done to two drivers who are richly deserving of their podiums, Nico, and they're both in P2. That's Simon Ladniak for Pirelli and for James Owen in Pirelli Am. Going to be very, very nice podiums. And there you can see some absolute delight. Franz Engstler, who... I wonder if anyone's done the calculation of how many racing laps Franz Engstler has done. Several.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Incidentally, just last weekend, as we see the podium prediction for Trofeo Pirelli, well, it's confirmation. It is going to be Thomas Fleming, Simon Ladniak, and Max Mugelli. And for Pirelli Am, it is going to be Franz Engstler, James Owen, and Hanno Laskowski.
As soon as that boy's got a car behind him, he crackles under pressure quite a bit. I could see that with the way he's driving really erratically, and obviously he ended up with a really good move by me around the outside, caught him sleeping like Miss Daisy, and yeah, he shoved me onto the gravel and got a deserving drive-through penalty, which gave me the win. So I couldn't be happier, to be honest.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, thank you very much. Can I just say massive thank you, to the team, my family, and mainly my sponsors. This is the first track in a while we've actually got to test, and we've come up trumps looking the fastest. So I think that says everything you need to know about us. So thank you to everybody. Appreciate it.
Very Tom Fleming, very appreciative of everything enabling him to go racing. And let's hear more from Ludo right now. I suspect she will have our top Trofeo Pirelli Am driver, who is, once again, Franz Engstler.
Franz, congratulations for another great result here in Portugal. How do you feel to be here now under the podium?
Yeah, that I could finish in first, it's unbelievable. I had such a tough start when I go in turn one. I get 2 times the heat, and then my car had no power for I don't know, 200 meters, and then I shift down 2 times and I lost all my places, and then yeah, it started to go push much as I can, and then we could finish in first. It is unbelievable. I'm really, really happy.
Congratulations again.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well done, Franz Hengstler. Here are the highlights. So in terms of race statistics then, Simon Ladniak making the best progress in Trofeo Pirelli. It was Ruslan Sadriv making the best progress in Trofeo Pirelli. We're going to be heading up to the podium next for Trofeo Pirelli and Podium. So Michele Mambelli then is the presenter that will be bringing the drivers out onto the podium to celebrate Trofeo Pirelli. First of all, Max Mugelli takes step 3. Here comes Simon Ladniak then, P2. Well done, Simon. And on the top step of the podium, Thomas Fleming then. Congratulated by both Max Mugelli and Simon Ladniak as he climbs to the top step of the podium. And then the P1 trophy is reserved, of course, for the driver for HRO in FF Corsa, Tom Fleming. And of course, HRO in FF Corsa will receive the team's trophy too. Lucio Vigani is here to make the Pirelli presentation. So double bubble for Tom on the top step then. receiving the Race Winners Trophy and the Pirelli Trophy as well. All drivers on the top step of the podium. And here are the cars. In slow-mo, Max Mugelli for CDP Eureka Competition takes P3. For Gome, Scuderia GT, it's Simon Ladniak who takes P2. And on the top step of the podium for HRO and FF Corsa, Thomas Fleming. Confirmation of the Drivers' Championship points then. Alessio Donno still P1 with 28 points ahead of Tom Fleming P2 and Max Mugelli P3. Vince Valent missing this weekend remains P4 and Simon Ladniak remains P5. Those are the Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship points. Up next, of course, we have the Trofeo Pirelli AM Podium. And that's being readied as we speak. And on that podium, we're going to be seeing Hanno Laskowski, James Owen, and Franz Engstler. Here comes Hanno Laskowski then. Can't miss him with those bright racing suits. He takes P3. And wearing the Welsh flag with pride, you know. Sound like someone from Bradford then, didn't I? It's James Owen taking P2. Well done, James. And on the top step of the podium, the old campaigner, dare I say it, Franz Engstler. And national anthem to play out for Franz Engstler. And as the anthem fades out, it's time for trophy presentations then to our top three in Trofeo Pirelli AM. So Hanno Laskowski receives his trophy. Once again, Davide Rigon making the trophy presentations. And James Owen, well done, James. He gets the P2 trophy, richly deserved. And then on it, hope you're enjoying it, ladies. And taking the P1 trophy, it is Franz Engstler, and of course, he will be the recipient of a Pirelli trophy from Lucio Vigani as well. So Ronnie receives the dealer trophy, and here's Lucio then to make the Pirelli presentation to Franz Engstler. He's got one or two of those, you know. And congratulates all the drivers. All the drivers then assemble on the top step of the podium. And here are the cars then that delivered those podium places for our drivers, though they had to pedal them, of course. For Emil Frey Sportivo, Hanno Laskowski taking P3. For Gome, Scuderia GT, Simon Ladniak. Beg your pardon. That, of course, is James Owen, the Meridian Motors FF Corsa driver, because it is the Trofeo Pirelli AM podium. Well done once again to James Owen, and well done to Franz Engstler for Charles Pozzi GT Racing, taking P1. And in terms of Drivers' Championship points, Franz Engstler on 115 points, Hanno Laskowski on 83, Nicola Rossi 54, and then James Owen, look, has vaulted 3 places to come up to P5 in the Drivers' Championship points. Now, some consistent point scoring from James Owen, helped by, of course, his wonderful P2 today. He's done a great job and finds himself now in a good position in terms of the Drivers' Championship points. Bearing in mind, it's James Owen's first season in the Ferrari Challenge, so credit to him. So there we have it. Both Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM podiums are done. We've had two extraordinarily dramatic Ferrari Challenge races. The first one was from our Copa Shell drivers, but that one that you've just enjoyed came from our mix of Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli and drivers. We're going to do it all over again tomorrow as our weekend here in Estoril in Portugal continues with the Ferrari Challenge. From Nico and from myself, thank you so much for watching. Please join us bright and early tomorrow for qualifying and then the races to come in the afternoon. Goodbye for now.